Communications Committee. Thank you to both of the Congress members for being here with us. Congresswoman Dingell, I want to start with you. What do you want to come out of this meeting tomorrow between the top four leaders and the president? And do you think that Schumer and Jeffries can get it done here?
Well, I think this meeting is happening because the president has not met with the Democratic leaders since he became president. And it was a very stupid thing to cancel the meeting last Thursday, because if there is a shutdown, it is going to be a Republican shutdown. But we have got to start to stand up. With the big blank bill, I'll behave, I'm on TV, has ripped health care away from millions of Americans. And when we now talk about the Affordable Care Tax Credit that is going to expire at the end of the year, but the exchange opens November 1st, we're going to see countless millions of families, again, across this country hurt. In my district, a couple that are age 60 will see their health insurance increase by $11,250 if this credit isn't extended. I'm out there. I went to multiple events yesterday. The American people want to see us fight. And his threats, well, I'm going to fire. What do you think he's been doing? They've been firing hundreds of thousands of employees this whole year. And what we need is guardrails so that the money we do appropriate actually gets spent.
Congresswoman Waters, it is obviously a big weekend for the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. I imagine you've spent a little bit of time with Hakeem Jeffries, minority leader. I'm wondering if he's spoken to you at all about what he hopes to accomplish with this meeting at the White House with President Trump tomorrow.
Well, actually, Hakeem Jeffries has been speaking with the Democratic caucus for days about what we want to accomplish. One of the things he's very sure about is we do not want the government to shut down. And we're saying to the Republicans, we want to meet, we want to negotiate, we want to make sure we do everything that we can to have a bipartisan support effort for the people of this country. So he's very clear about that. And he's got 100% support from his caucus.
Yeah. You know, Congresswoman Dingell, one of the things that we have been here before, right, where we have come right up to the brink and then it hasn't. Up until yesterday, we were all having sources tell us that there was going to be a shutdown. It was just a question of how long. Now that this meeting is back, I have some sources that are saying maybe there's something that's going to happen here. Ali Vitali, our fabulous colleague who hosts Way Too Early, was here today, and she said that what she's thinking is going to happen here is going to be the clean CR that was passed in the House by Republicans and some kind of side deal on the health care subsidies that Democrats want. Is that good enough for you? Do you think that's good enough for Democrats to kind of say, OK, we'll sign on in the Senate?
Look, I'm not going to speculate yet, because first of all, this is President Trump. It's President Trump we're talking about, and we have no idea what is going to come out of it. I think that we are all firm. Congresswoman Waters is absolutely right that we are 100% united, that we've got to fight for the American people. The we do want a bipartisan deal, but that means you got to talk to us. And they have refused to talk to us until, he canceled the meeting. Now they're going to have it. We don't know what kind of meeting it's going to be. I'm not going to speculate about what gets discussed, but I know that we have to have guardrails, because money that we have already appropriated this year has been taken from school lunch programs, from hospitals, from law enforcement. Let's see. I'm hopeful. I think it's that there is a meeting, but we have to stand up strong for the people we represent. And they have really been hurt by what's happened this year. They want to see us fight for them. And I hope we can reach a bipartisan agreement, but I'm not going to speculate until I talk to my leader after he's been in that meeting.
Congresswoman Waters, I understand that a lot of the focus right now is on the government funding bill and the shutdown, but Democratic voters, as you know, want to see a lot of fight. They want to see Democrats use potentially all the tools that you could have at your disposal. One tool you guys do have is a privileged impeachment resolution. Why not bring impeachment resolutions against FCC Chair Brendan Carr? You and others have said that his tactics, represent an authoritarian playbook.
Well, in the middle of the negotiations that we're trying to get, to talk about impeachment, if you can't count your votes going into impeachment, it's a waste of time. We've been down this route more than once. And so we're focused now on what we can do to get Medicaid paid for. We have $1 trillion that's been taken out of Medicaid. People will die if we don't get Medicaid funded in the way that it should be funded, in Medicare, and the other issues that are before us. But we really are concerned about the health and the health care of the people of this country. And so we're not going to fool around with thinking we can do impeachment or anything like that.
Even though Republicans...
When they go into the White House with Trump, they're going in to talk about what we can do for the American people now to ensure that they have Medicaid and Medicare. And for me, who is the ranking member on the Financial Services Committee, where I have all of HUD, I'm worried about Section 8.
We begin this hour with Democrats fighting back against President Trump on two fronts. The first is Trump's weaponization of the Justice Department. After the indictment of former FBI Director James Comey, Trump promised more political foes would be next. He's now expanding his revenge campaign to former FBI Director Christopher Wray, who he appointed. The president falsely and baselessly claimed on his social media that Wray lied about the January 6th riot and that he, quote, secretly placed agents instigated the violence. Congressman Robert Garcia, top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, called Trump's retribution campaign pure corruption.
Donald Trump is the most corrupt person to ever be president of the United States, and he's using the DOJ in a way that no president ever has in the past. And so I think as a country, we've got to brace ourselves. We've got to call out the lies. We've got to push back aggressively and really be fearless in this moment, because he is going to come after all of us, and we've got to be prepared for that.
And on that other front, the clock is ticking to a government shutdown. There are now just 2 days left to get something done. President Trump is expected to meet with the top Republican and Democratic congressional leaders at the White House tomorrow, just days after the president abruptly canceled a planned meeting with Democrats at the urging of Republican leaders. In a joint statement confirming tomorrow's meeting, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said, "We are resolute in our determination to avoid a government shutdown and address the Republican health care crisis. Time is running out." Joining us now, Congressman Pete Aguilar of California, chairman of the House Democratic Caucus and a member of the House Appropriations Committee. Thank you for joining us so early this morning.
It's 9 o'clock.
Yeah, well, you're not in California, are you? Where are you?
Good to be with you, Jackie. and Eugene and Laura.
Give us your thoughts about this meeting between congressional leaders tomorrow and what you are hoping that Democrats get out of it.
Well, I think my response is finally. Finally, the president decided to meet with Democratic leadership in order to hopefully avert a crisis. Why a guy who claims he's the negotiator in chief and art of the deal doesn't want to be in the room with Democrats to talk about averting a government shutdown is beyond me. But House Democrats and Democrats in the Senate stand united in advocating for health care in our country. We know that Americans are navigating two crises in this country. It is the affordability crisis and it is health care crisis. What House Democrats have said is that Republicans have no credibility on this with their big ugly bill and what they have done to assault and attack health care. We have to address it, and we have to do everything we can in order to look out for the health and safety of the American public.
Congressman, is it enough for if they walk out of this meeting and decide we're going to sign whatever the House Republicans passed and everyone's going to go ahead with this clean CR until November and a separate deal dealing with health care? Or do you feel, does your caucus feel like those two things have to be linked, or can they be separated in two different deals?
No, they have to be linked. This has to be an ironclad deal that is spelled out in legislation. Just remember, in December, House Republicans walked away from a deal with Democrats just because Donald Trump and Elon Musk told them to. So they have no credibility, one, on the healthcare crisis, but they also do not have credibility with us when it comes to negotiating an actual deal because they have walked away time and time again from agreements that have been bipartisan. So this has to be an ironclad deal spelled out in legislation in order to get my vote.
So if the two aren't linked, then you won't vote for it, and you think many other Democrats won't?
That's correct. This has to be a deal that addresses the healthcare crisis that they have created in this country. Until we see a movement in that direction, there will be plenty of House Democrats who will not support Republican plans to reopen the government without addressing this self-inflicted crisis that they have created.
So just to be clear, linked meaning one bill, right? One bill that has both things in it.
One bill that has both things in it. That has to be part of the deal. Again, I mean, to Eugene's question, this isn't about, trust me later. This isn't about pinky promises that Speaker Johnson makes with his colleagues all the time to offer them, select committees and other things along the way to get them to buy in to whatever, half-baked plan they have for the day. If you're going to deal and work with House Democrats, it has to be a firm deal. We have to look out for the health and safety of the American public.
What you're witnessing here, what you're seeing here, is Donald Trump and his cronies admit it. They are admitting that they're at fault. And Democrats are being clear. There's not really a negotiation here, right? Because on the one hand, Republicans are like, oh, it's the Democrats' fault. But on the other, it's like they're not even really talking to us. Because here's the thing. The Republicans in these sorts of scenarios always have an issue when it's this close of a margin. If the Republicans would have gone out in the House and won by, say, 20 or 30 seats, if there was a true red wave, because remember, it wasn't really a red wave. Trump won, but it didn't lead to a massive wave, right? Because it was just, we want something different, but we're not really enthused by the Republican Party. And so the House remained very narrow. And in that context, there's always a few Republicans who are a burn it down no matter what type Republican. And that's even when the Republicans are in power. So there's always a few of them that are always reluctant to vote for any kind of debt ceiling increase because that's just the incentive they've been given by their constituents who are hardcore, like, anti-debt, blah, 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 blah. And so they almost always need Democrats to help, even though they control all three branches. And in that context, Democrats are being very reasonable, actually. And I'm super critical of Hakeem Jeffries. I think he's being kind of scummy by not endorsing Mamdani in New York, even though his constituents, represented by a district in New York, voted 2/3 for Mamdani. I have a lot of criticisms of Hakeem Jeffries. But I do think the Democrats here saying, if you want our support, you actually have to give the working class something. I think that's good messaging. Saying, you need to protect healthcare. You need to do a couple other things. You do have the votes. If you want, you can shut the government down, or you can not shut it down without us. But because your party is so out of control and Trump can't even control MAGA, you need us. And in that context, you got to give us something. That's why any shutdown is on MAGA. And if the country doesn't shut down, it's because Democrats bailed them out and hopefully got a few concessions in the process.